Hey there, everybody. Hello, hello. How are you? How are you? Look at this crazy sunlight thing going on here. I hope you can see me okay. Maybe I'll turn this light on here. I don't know if that's going to make much difference against the sun. I kind of doubt it. So, hope you are doing great this morning. I wanted to do this live today. This is a kind of a big week, and in a series of big weeks, right? And this week we have Neptune going direct, which I think is one of, in terms of this year's import and where we're going, a lot of astrologers don't talk about Neptune that much. I mean, evolutionary astrologers do. And they do it because it is about the evolution of our species, right? It's about the evolution of human beings, about relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Neptune is going direct on Wednesday this week. And if you have had the experience over the past 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even stretching back into September a little bit, of like seeing your own limitations, finally, after a lot of fog. Okay. Neptune is about illusion. And it can be one of those things where you've kind of made some decisions or done some things that maybe you regret. Okay, we had a Mercury retrograde in there. Some things you said that maybe you shouldn't have said, but there's a healthy sense of, but here's why that happened, and here's what's going on with me. And for all you fellow people pleasers out there, sometimes it's really hard to get your own needs met, especially in the fog, right? Because you're really tapping into some of those old scripts or those old ways of being in the world. And I feel like for those of you who've had challenges with that, challenges with other people, bullying, we've talked a lot about narcissism on this channel, other people generally being people, to whatever level of dysfunction or not dysfunction they've been in, and how do we navigate that? So from a more personal perspective, I feel like this next bit of time, we are heading into the solstice here in the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, a time when in the northern hemisphere, the light starts to take back the stage. But it's going to be a while. And with the darkest day of the year, the least light on the planet is December 21st in the northern hemisphere, and the most light there is in the southern hemisphere. And so the light is going to start to take back the stage. But I feel like for those of you who are having these challenges for a variety of reasons, it's time for you to really maybe go into your space, maybe pull back from things a little bit. Thank you very much. Thanks. Tomorrow's my birthday. So thank you guys for all your lovely notes and all your lovely comments. Thank you very much. If it is time for you to sort of pull back from some relationships and stuff, I do want to say to you, like, give yourself the gift of that and just be able to learn a sentence or two to be able to say, I don't have a lot of bandwidth right now, and I'm going to just, stay quiet, or I'm just going to pull back from these events or whatever. We have lots of things going on here, winter festivals and all kinds of stuff. And the birthday celebration, it is a big one. It has a 0 at the end. So, so it's been very lovely to see the love, and, also to see my own path forward. So thanks everybody for your beautiful messages. I so appreciate you all, always, not just on my birthday. Okay. So let's do the reading here. A couple of notes. I am starting the spiritual business class in January. At the end of this week, though, the price is going to go to the 2026 level. You can still grab it at 2025 level. So look in the description boxes, or on the website, soulfulrevolutiontv.com, under courses. It's right there, the first one. You can grab it. My astrology class is there too. If you're in my astrology class, I hope to have module 5 up within the week to 10 days. We just put up module 4, and then a bonus module where we talk a lot about the deacons, and this is relevant because I use tarot, and the deacons relate to tarot cards, which is really super fascinating, gives us another level of astrology. So let's do the reading. Okay. So guides underneath, look at this sun pattern. It's just like, I don't know. It's super interesting. The guides underneath, I've got this new moon coming up in Sagittarius. We're going to have that on December 19th, 20th. That's at 28 degrees of Sag, a very powerful degree, just one tick off of the galactic center. So this is a real portal, and Sagittarian energy is about wisdom. Y'all know Jupiter's in retrograde in Cancer. Jupiter's going to go direct in March. So there's something right now about pulling wisdom out of the experiences that you're having. And it's not just like, okay, here's a fact about this person, and here's a fact about my relationship with that person, and here's, what I'm learning from that relationship 20 years ago, right? Like, you're pulling all these data points, but Sagittarius is about connecting those dots. So whatever you saw back in a few days ago, yes, a few days ago, we had that full moon in Gemini. Gemini is about the data points, right? Gemini is about data, but Sagittarius connects the dots. So whatever's going on for you right now, can you connect the dots? And then can you apply the wisdom, right? Happy birthday to you. That's Julie in there saying it's her birthday tomorrow too. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's your birthday. Oh, Ash, very nice. 12/8. Excellent. Excellent. Very nice. Give yourself the gift of peace this Christmas and your birthday. Past life. Death. I swear I shuffled these. Fire. These came out in my reading too this morning, and I'm not surprised, I guess, because we've been talking a lot about similar issues that I am definitely experiencing. A lot of times when I'm doing the readings, I'm just like reading what's in front of me, but sometimes I actually am an active participant because this is our collective, and sometimes I'm tapping into different parts of the collective. But this definitely feels like past lives coming up for not renewal, but clearing. Like I said, extracting the wisdom and then creating passion or reigniting passion. Reigniting passion. That could be in relationship. It could be in just your own experience of relationship. And the guides are saying, hey, this is a very powerful new moon for you to plant the seeds of what you want for the future and clear this past life karma. Today we will be having astrology at 1:00, my live with my astrology group. We're going to be talking about the vertex in your birth chart, which is fated and destined events. And I'll show you how that works. And then I think on Wednesday for Pathfinders, I'm going to talk about clearing past life karma and how you actually do that. We're going to talk more about, energy clearing. So give that a try. All right, on Wednesday. Okay, underneath is the Knight of Cups. Sorry for the crazy light here. The Knight of Swords, the Moon, figuring heavily in this reading already. The Knight of Pentacles, the Strength card, and the Queen of Cups. This card is what I am feeling right now. The 10 of Wands, about feeling burned out or feeling overwhelmed or other people's needs matter more. And this is, it can be, when you get to the place of burnout, or I got 3 knights here, to the place where you're feeling overwhelmed, which is very, very common in this energy that we're living in, because we have grand water trines. We've had them for a while. Planets in Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio talking to each other, Jupiter and Neptune and Saturn, which is like major. And then all of the transits through Scorpio now in Sagittarius, and they're moving towards Capricorn. So the Sagittarius time is the time when you're taking the wisdom, extracting the wisdom, and planting the seeds for the future. I'm seeing a bunch of messengers, right? Pages are the message itself, but the knights are the messenger. So this can be other people. Knight of Pentacles, very slow energy. The knights are mutable signs. So mutable earth, right? Mutable earth is Virgo. Mutable water is Pisces, and mutable air is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay. Sorry, not Aquarius. Gemini. What am I saying? Gemini, Sag here. Okay. Leo energy. And then this Queen of Cups like has her back turned on all of that. So if you're looking, I'm looking at this spread here where the knights are all kind of like milling around. There's people around, or there's messengers around that I feel like will come through in this new moon coming up that we have in Sag. Sag is also the energy of a lot of expansion, fire, passion. I'm almost feeling like this reading is saying, hey, get ready and understand what is overwhelming you right now. If you do have this feeling, and set about the task of releasing that past life karma, this new moon, and plant the seeds toward these messengers coming into you, these people coming in wanting to have a conversation. The Knight of Swords, very fast. Knight of Pentacles, very slow. Someone going has taken a long time to get to you. And then the Knight of Cups, something about love or romance or something like that. And I feel like they're all kind of converging. When you plant the seeds, your action matters here. The guides are saying your action of clearing past life karma. And what is it that you want to create in your life? The Queen of Cups, she's got her back to these dudes. She's just like she's looking at that Ace of Cups. I almost feel like, okay, I know what this is. This is about fantasy. Just saying, Neptune is fantasy, right? Neptune goes direct this week. All illusions are going to fall away. So if you have this fantasy about this Virgo or this Gemini or this Piscean person here, I feel like you really need to commit to have the courage to see the real person. Like a little unvarnished, maybe a little bit messy, maybe a little bit, but real. Okay. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. So I want you to start seeing people in a more real way. Now that may not be you. You may not be having the trouble. People may see you incorrectly. That's possible too. But there's definitely something here to work on letting go of. And if people are seeing you, let's just say something that could burn you out is people seeing you as some kind of hero or some kind of savior, or you might have a savior complex or whatever. And you're kind of trying to be perfect, people pleasing, la, 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 la. Right. And so it's like, it's time to just be real. And be real about your expectations. Be real. Like I am committed now to only having people around me who know what they want, need, and expect. It's not my job to figure it out. Okay. But that's my whole life has been trying to figure out, what people want, need, and expect. And that is something I need to offload, because it's, I want to credit Therapy Jeff with that. Very, very good short that rolled through over the weekend. And I was like, hell to the yeah. Okay. Want, need, expect. I'm not going to figure it out anymore. Okay. So let's see the reading here. 6 of Wands, Page of Swords. Is Charlie in the background? Yeah, he is. He's waiting for me to take him to the beach. Page of Swords, the Ace of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups. 6 of Wands and 8 of Cups are going in the direction of the future. I like that. 5 of Cups. Some people aren't going to understand this. Seriously. Some people are going to be like, wait a second. You kind of always anticipated my needs. You're the one we send to Dunkin' Donuts every morning, and you kind of intuit who people want to be, what kind of coffee people want, who they want to be. Oh, that'd be good. 9 of Swords, 4 of Cups, and the Star. Healing energy here. This is what I'm getting here. I feel like you've been on a pretty good path. There's a lot of good stuff happening. There's a lot of good stuff kind of percolating. Okay. So don't really get too down on yourself if you're feeling like this, right? If you're feeling like 10 of Wands, it's a phase. Nothing's permanent. All right. Things move through. Okay. Things move through. 9 of Swords and 4 of Cups. This might be a good time to just chill. I know it's the holidays and all of that stuff, but, boy, one of the things that I like to do on my birthday, I don't know about you guys, but I really like to be at peace. So the more I can be at peace during the day, the more I can do things that bring me peace, yoga, meditation. I really decided this year to really, lean into my practice and have started some new things that are bringing me peace, because that's going to bring in the good ideas. That's going to clear the path of all of this, right? If you do something, which I have done already once in the last 10 days, about just not being able to sustain going to a party or to a dinner, I just feel like, I'm sorry, I just can't, or a trip or anything like that. I just can't. And, say you're sorry, own it. Actions have consequences. And even though it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation, right? I just want you to know that this is what's going on with me. And I, really appreciate you. And I'm sorry if I've messed up your day. But I don't really feel like I have another choice. So, mea culpa, right? And it's possible that some people won't understand what you need, right? It's possible that some people won't understand. But the thing is, okay, but what's the alternative? Not telling them? I don't think that's going to work anymore. It never worked. Okay. It never worked. So there's messages coming in here, the Page of Swords and the Ace of Wands. And I really think the overall message here is to clear your space, clear the space, because there's messages and people and experiences trying to come in that maybe up until now you haven't been allowing in, because there's a lot of clutter going on. The rest of December, I can see, is a really good time to get clear on your financial situation, on your relationship status, on what it is that you actually want, on how to clear up any kind of bad habits, especially with communication. I feel like when we step into that February 20th day, where we have Saturn and Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, this is like the great rebirthing. So right now, this is things are dying, things are ending, things are closing down, and it's really okay. You kind of just have to let this play out. If you try to go and save something or rescue something that in your heart needs to go, then kind of just letting something fall into the ocean, letting something just, disappear, letting a relationship kind of end, and, understanding your own role and part in it, I think is a really good use of this time. We have Venus, Mars, and the Sun. We're going to have a series of squares throughout the month of December. And the squares to Saturn are going to be, Venus squaring Saturn. That's later in the month. I think might even be Christmas Eve. Venus squaring Saturn is saying, what are the lessons you've learned about love? The Sun squaring Saturn a little bit earlier in time, the 16th of December. It's sort of are you being the true you? Which is what I'm talking about here. Are you being the true you? And then earlier, what's the earlier one? I just want to make sure I'm giving you the right thing. The earlier one, no, that's not it. Sun, Venus, Mars. Mars is happening this week. Mars square the sun is happening this week. Okay. Or Mars square Saturn. Sorry, Mars square Saturn. And that's really about what you do. Okay. What you're taking action on and what you're doing, with all these energies that we've been talking about. Let me just brighten this up for you a little bit. There we go. Hope that's better. It's all, I just really feel like if you hear yourself kind of trying to be like, well, that person just doesn't get it. And, that might be true. But the better you can understand yourself and the better you can try to give yourself, connect the dots with the wisdom and then apply the wisdom to the relationships, the better off when you introduce the new you happening next year. For me, it's happening in the 7th house of intimate partnerships. And I'm like, oh, I better get my shit together in terms of learning how to better communicate my needs, since my needs never mattered in my own house growing up. Now my needs need to matter, and they need to, they need to matter in a relationship. I need to get better at communicating those things. So we're on the way to healing here with this star. There might be some people who do leave, but there's also good stuff coming in. So let me ask about what you don't see coming. Oopsie. Oh, all right. So, okay. This is so interesting. So this is about either you kind of examining old relationships. There's a reason for it. You're examining old relationships for what I just said to you, because there's a new one coming in, Knight of Cups. Apparently it's not just me, for the long term. This is a keeper, and you're going to have to discern who this person is. Going to have to discern. Discernment is a big part of intuition. And I have really kind of ignored this strength card up here, but this is that internal power, right? That internal power. And the waiting for someone to come in, I feel like you have been, let me see if I can say this, holding them back with all of this karmic stuff. It hasn't been, there's a lot more to heal. Okay. And so once you clear that out, once you let that go, then people can come in. I almost feel like some of us, and I will include myself in this, that some of us keep this wall up, because if we're burned out or we're having a hard time and we don't have tools, need to get some tools. We don't have tools to manage a good relationship when it comes in. Right. And so this is coming in. Let's see. Coming in. Do I have my timing? No, I don't. Okay. Coming in. Woo! Ace of Pentacles by the end of the year. That's an Ace of Pentacles. I saw that in my own reading again today. The 3 of Wands. Look at the expectation there. What is your expectation of this? And it's really good to examine your approach to relationships in general. What is the thing that you automatically expect of another person? It's just good to look at it. So, and what I said before about what Therapy Jeff said about, I no longer try to discern, try to figure out what people need. I want people who are clear about their expectations. I want people who are clear about what they want. I don't, so many of the readings, so many. And if you've watched me for any length of time, that confusion, if someone leaves you feeling kind of confused and how do they feel? And where are we going with this? And if you constantly are asking the tarot deck, if you guys, a lot of you read tarot, a lot of you take in my class, you're constantly reading for like, well, how do they feel? What do they want? Everything like that. That's a big indicator that maybe they're not as good at communicating. And maybe I'm afraid to ask. Maybe I'm afraid to ask because one of the I think this is kind of terrible, but I feel like if I could find a better way to understand this, I think it's not bad really. Um, I had a family member who used to say to me, don't ask the question if you don't want to know the true answer. And it was kind of a threat. Okay. It was basically telling me like, you don't want to hear this, but I do. So how can you say that? How can you be in that energy of, I want to ask the question because I want to know the answer. I want to be clear about what's going on here. And it might be clumsy. You might be out of practice at this. You might not know how to do it, but I'm saying to you right now, if you can go find some tools about this, if you go to therapy, awesome. Ask your therapist, like, what are my tools here based on what you know about me? What are the tools? How can I make this next one better? There's one coming in. How can I make this next one better? How can I, because I've been working on myself. I'm clearing this past life karma. I'm doing all this stuff. I want to get rid of this wall. And if that's your true intention, if that's your soul, if you're following your North Star and that's what you want, it's also true in business partnerships. It's also true in your work. Like, I keep getting jobs, but they suck. And I keep, having the same kind of boss. Like, let's take a little accountability for our own place in the world. That is the power you have, is to be like, you know what? I am 100% responsible for where I am right now. Because even though other people shaped that and other people did their thing, I'm responsible for doing the healing work for myself. Right. And I'm responsible for helping myself, embrace the life I have and embrace my mission and purpose. Right. So there it is again, 10 of Wands, expectations, they will get you every time. About commitment. I used to say that all the time. The expectations will get you every single time. This is a good journaling prompt. I know it's a Monday, but this is a good journaling prompt that, what are my expectations here? What do I think? Am I like totally in my Disney fantasy? Because that is Neptune, my friend. I feel like, and I've been saying this for a while, that the next person that shows up, even somebody from the past, you may think they're a white knight, like the old knight in shining armor kind of thing, which is definitely the Knight of Cups. And what's your definition of that? And are you kind of expecting, or you see potential in someone, or you're attracting in unavailable people because you yourself are unavailable? Like, get real with it. That's what Neptune going direct is going to give you the gift of. Get real, right? Get real, Empress. Get real. Okay. Actions. Is there any blocks? First of all, let's see. Are there any blocks? I mean, I kind of been talking about some, but yeah, 4 of Pentacles, not letting anybody in. It's a heck of a block. 9 of Swords, big anxiety, death. Okay, that this will kill me. And the Knight of Swords. All of those things will not go away, diminish, once you can, sort of look them in the face and say, okay, yeah, I am being avoidant. Yep, 100%. I'm being avoidant. Why? Yep, I got a lot of anxiety about this. Why? This is going to change my life. This is going to really transform things. This Death card. Why? Am I afraid of that? Do I think that's okay? Like, what are my expectations? What do I want? Not just expectations of them, but expectations of me. And the Knight of Swords. I will say that nothing drives an experience faster than fear. Okay. And if you're manifesting, or not manifesting, but if you're, well, maybe, but if you're, if this happens, you're like, ooh, like you get all, ooh, slow down. Okay. Really slow down and just get in your body, be comfortable, ask embarrassing questions, be comfortable with the idea that you may hear something you don't want to hear. Right. that's why that statement, don't ask if you don't want the answer, was super telling to me, because I became someone really good at fantasy, Neptune, right? Because I don't want to hear any bad things. I want this to be fun and joyful. Very Sag. Oh my God, very Sag. All right, let's see. Actions and advice. Whoopsie, here we go. Oh, okay. The old you's gone. With healing, the old you's gone. I did a reading yesterday, the For Whoever reading. If you want to catch that, it's up on the channel. When I talked about going to a book, and let's see, I'm going to pick out a book here. And if you have ever, I have thousands and thousands of physical books. So just pick a book, all right, off the shelf, and open it up. And just stick your finger. I'm going to read you this paragraph. What if I don't get anything? This is about manifesting, whatever. A common question that students ask is, what if I don't get anything? You will always get something, because you are always hearing, feeling, seeing, and yes, thinking, because thoughts go through your head that are up from your intuition. If you get confused or feel you're too wrapped up in your thinking, then you have to stop and try a different tool or method. We've gone over some, okay, so this is talking about the different tools. And this can be part of that is a message here. Go do it yourself anytime you want. Just pull a book off, history book, I don't care what it is, and open it up and stick your finger there and read it. It's a great tool to use. And that is a fear, right? What if I don't get what I want? Or what if I don't get anything? What if I'm terrible at this, conversation game and I run away? What if I end up it being a bust and it's not for me? The healing part of you says, I'm okay with me no matter what happens. Okay, that part of you, that stable, solid, internal part of you that is your soul, that is your core, that is always there. We just layer a bunch of shit all over it, right? So we're not hearing it very well. Our expectations and our desires and our fears and our anxiety, So if you can remember that you're not going to dissolve into a puddle if someone says something that you're like, oh yeah, that's a major red flag for me. Be like, thanks for the 5 years I didn't waste trying to figure it out, but I'd never asked the question. Thanks for the 5 years back. Right? You're just, very much like moving on from your old ways of being. 8 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. Conflict is healthy. Here's Justice. Conflict is very healthy in relationships. I had a relationship where we never fought, and it collapsed because there was no forum for us to say, hey, that really bothered me. Both of us were very avoidant about conflict. And it was really important that it wasn't just create some kind of created fantasy, and that person can never live up to that. And neither could you, by the way, as perfect as you are, neither could you. All right, next 30 days. All right. As we move into Capricorn season, after the solstice, right? We have the new moon on the 21st of December. We're then the next day, the next day, 1920th, depending on where you are in the world. The next day, the sun goes into Capricorn. Venus, Mars, Mercury follow. So when that happens, there's a sense of, and Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, right? So this is about whatever you have learned. Probably, a lot of 2025 is going to be it's very important to reflect. And I think I'm going to do some videos on this. It's very important to look at the lessons. Let's go back over 2025. Let's not just look ahead to 2026. Okay. By the time we get to April, May, June, there's going to be like the new life is going to start to coalesce here. So let's go back to 2025 and really incorporate what we've learned. So the Knight of Wands, there's the other knight. So we've got all 4 knights here. The Page of Cups, Knight of Wands is Sagittarius energy. The 3 of Swords, the Moon, and the Queen of Wands. So there may be some flybys. There may be some false starts by doing this. It may not be like the meet cute that you want, but honestly, it's better than having all of these coping mechanisms that worked for you at some point or another. I'm getting are not going to work anymore, because who you are, who you're becoming, has different goals and dreams and tools. And those old coping mechanisms, now they're just forming a barrier, right? It's not a protective anymore. It's blocking you. It's blocking. So there could be somebody coming in, offering an apology and talking about, or maybe you're kind of revisiting the broken heart that came from that. And that could be around the solstice. So the Queen of Wands says, okay, for some of you, this is like somebody coming back from the past, and this person may not be meant to stick around. Okay, let me ask more about that. I get Sag, Cancer, Leo. Woo. Okay. King of Swords. That's Libra. Ace of Cups. The Magician. Wow. Okay. And the Ace of Swords. Aquarius. So Mercury energy here. Okay. We've had Mercury go direct. Mercury is going to be, I'm going to use my little book here so I give you the right date. Mercury enters Sagittarius on the 11th, and it will go into Capricorn early in the month, early in the new year. I think it could be like the 1st or the 2nd. And I like that for very tangible conversations. Okay. And this person, the person you're looking for, because remember all the knights and stuff, like knights are kind of, they're not kings. All right. So the king and the magician here. Now, I am super happy to see the Ace of Swords next to the magician, because the magician is Gemini, Virgo, and that is Mercury energy. And right away, all around the magician is the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So it is just potential, but this person is straight up. And this is discernment for you also, for you to be straight up. Okay. So the energy of that, you might want to get into that energy in order to attract that energy. I like that. Okay. Messages from Spirit. The sun right next to the star. I love that. Knight of Pentacles. Wheel of Fortune. It could be the last person. There's maybe a couple of flybys here. Knight of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune. That's Jupiter energy. Leo. Chariot. Wow. And the Three of Pentacles. So Cancer energy showing up a couple of times here from the moon, and then the moon again. But the moon is like hidden, right? This person has had a lot of hidden expectations themselves, and also there's stuff hidden. But now this Ace of Swords, King of Swords, if you are the one with a lot of clarity and say, hey, I am not wasting my time. All right. I feel like this person, the one that is the right one, will kind of smile and be like, all right, then. Right. They're going to be on the same page as you. Like, yeah, I'm sick of games. I'm sick of all that stuff. It doesn't mean that relationships are like completely smooth sailing after that. You have to keep it up. You got to work through that. But this says to me that this is a fated and destined experience, right? We're going to talk about vertex in the astrology group today. And then the Three of Pentacles says that you can build on this. You can build something really, really good from this. If we're both on the same page, let's start off that way. Start how you want to go on. Queen of Cups, there she is again. There's Seven of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, Page of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. So this is definitely saying to me that you have put in a lot of time and effort, or are putting in a lot of time and effort, and leaning into what makes you excited. leaning into what makes you passionate, leaning into mission and purpose, all this kind of stuff. And instead of this wall, the wall is coming down when you are the most authentic yourself. This is Age of Aquarius stuff. Be the most authentic you can. And this is not just, this doesn't really necessarily have to be about love. This can be about any relationship that you have. Okay. And I'm going to just close this out with Archangel Michael. Guarded and protected. What are you afraid is going to happen? What's the wall doing there? Right? I'm afraid of getting like, shivved in the lunch line. I'm afraid of getting stabbed in the temple when I'm not looking. I'm afraid of this person saying, I don't love you. I'm afraid, like really look at it. What are the things you really are afraid of? Lean on God and the angels for support because you're guarded and protected, guarded. Your children are watched over by angels. I feel like this is like the inner you, the inner little girl or little boy that was afraid to ask the questions, afraid to discern what's going on. Decide to be happy now, no matter what. Okay, no matter what. I'm good. I'm good. And when you're in that place of very centered wisdom that you're pulling together these data points and you're going, oh, wow. Okay, now I get it. These are the tools I need to get. This is the healing I need to get. And even if it's not about doing it for another person, it's about me being very solid and anchored in my own energy. Express your love. This is where legit compassion and empathy without expectation can flow beautifully. And even if the relationship, there's a couple flybys here, you'd be like, I got a lot of compassion for that because I see that they're not ready. I see it, right? I can see it. Forgiving and learning, potential for someone to come back from the past and very soon. And religious factors. Some kind of belief system, doesn't have to be actual religion, but some kind of belief system has been blocking. So how you figure this out is, what do you believe? Do you believe that person should be this knight in shining armor? Do you believe in rescuing? Do you believe, what is it? What Disney fantasy are you working off of? Because that's going to, every time it shows up, you're like, I see it now. I got Charlie in the background. Charlie is ready to go to the beach, and that's what we're going to do right now. So thank you guys for being here. I hope this was helpful to you. Just know, thank you for all the happy birthday wishes. Thank you very much. It's tomorrow, so we're going to, I don't know what we're going to do, but I've had some really fun things go on over the weekend, and we're going to do some other fun things this week. Right, Charlie? All right, we're going to the beach. So thank you guys for being here. Look at everybody. I did this an hour later just so that there could be more people showing up on the live, and here you are. All right, my friends, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you later today.